I wanted to set some context for what I think we're doing here, some bigger context. So I've got a few notes. Let me just... We are living in an extraordinary time of transformation, one that brings profound challenges and also opportunities. Humanity is currently navigating polycrisis, as we call it. So if we look at what's going on in the world right now, with the climate, with the political instability, with the economic instability, with the wars, the division, with Brexit still reverberating in this country, the impact of that, with the refugee crises around the world, with the rapid evolution of technology and what that means and what's going to come from that, with systemic inequality and racial inequality, and threats to our democracy. Certainly in this country, well, actually around the world that I'm aware of, there's lots of standing up and challenges to democracy as it exists. This is all caused by an old model of operating. It's about greed, it's about self-focus, it's about competition, it's about division, it's about money. If we don't act decisively as a society, as a world, as a species, future generations may not have a planet that is livable.
Absolutely.
And I think it's really important that we remember that for what we're doing here. Sometimes it's easy to feel frustrated and powerless and confused. But actually, this time right now is a catalyst. It's a significant catalyst for our collective awakening. And we can see that happening with the people that are standing up in various places. We can see that there's a catalyst occurring. We don't want to tolerate the society and the way that things have been and the systems that are in place. And this is where I see we have a job to do, and I want to make sure that we are doing our work in that context. And what's happening in the world, there's some beautiful esoteric systems that have been around for a long time that have been pointing to this time in our world right now. So astrology is one of those. So we've moved from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is about breaking free from outdated hierarchies. It's about embracing innovation. And it's about building systems that prioritize equity, freedom, and collective well-being. Equity, freedom, and collective well-being. We're in the process of building a world that is based upon that. But there's work to do. So what fascinates me is that astrology is pointing at what's happening, like practically what's happening in the world. Like astrology's known this is coming right now. And there's another couple of systems that I'm pretty familiar with and studied with. Human design, some of you might be aware of. Some of you might be aware of gene keys. Two phenomenal systems of self-discovery and self-development based upon astrology, ultimately. Based upon astrology, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, and quantum physics. And what they say is that 2027 is a key year, which is the year of the solar plexus mutation. And what they say is there's a transformational shift coming in that year in human consciousness and in energy dynamics. Changes in the way that humanity and humans experience and process emotions. So a change is coming where we change our relationship to the way that we experience and process our emotions. But also our inner awareness and also our relationships more widely. So there's 4 key themes that they talk about with the solar plexus mutation, and I just want to touch on those. The first is emotional awareness evolution, which I kind of just mentioned really, but it's like the evolution of our emotional awareness. The solar plexus center is linked to emotions, desire and sensitivity. And it's the solar plexus that is transforming from being a driver, a driving center, to being an awareness center. And as it becomes an awareness center, that is about us having greater emotional clarity and emotional attunement. Which that means that we're going into a place where we can live less from reaction as a species and more from awareness and intelligence. The second theme of this solar plexus mutation is a shift from tribal to individual consciousness. So tribal consciousness is fear-based. We're moving from fear-based to individual self-empowerment and authenticity. So the very journeys that we are each going on is really all what it's about coming forward. Self-empowerment and authenticity. So relationships and systems based upon dependency and control are expected to dissolve. So this is pretty phenomenal, significant. Moving to connections based upon mutual respect and freedom. Now look at that and think about that. Look at the systems that are set up in the world right now based upon dependency, control, fear. We're moving to a time where that shifts. It's already occurring in some ways. The third theme is the emergence of a new species paradigm, where we have heightened emotional intelligence, telepathic communication, and deep interconnectedness. And the work that we each need to do as light workers is increasing our emotional intelligence, our telepathic communication, our deep understanding of what interconnectedness actually means. It's an easy thing to say, but there's deeper aspects for us to really understand that, I believe. The fourth theme of the solar mutation is the end of the cross-planning. So in human design, the cross-planning is a period from 1615 to 2027. Cross-planning, this era, was about structure, cooperation and reliance on systems like governments and institutions. In 2027 there's a new epoch that is coming called the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which is about individual empowerment, self-reliance and inner strength. So I'm hoping as you hear all this you can see that this journey you're on is not just your journey, it's a shift in humanity that you're part of. It's not about you. The challenge with this transition is that it's chaotic, and that those that are involved in the systems that we've had and known until now are scared and threatened and are there to hang on and hold on tightly. So we see this when there are protests, the way that the system is dealing with those protests. this fear. So for coaches, light workers and visionaries, we must do our work within this context. We are part of a movement of light workers, bringing light into this new age. So what does that mean for us as coaches and for humanity with this change coming? One, it means we must master our emotions. We must have emotional mastery. Processing our emotions in a healthier way. Developing resilience. Developing our authenticity and being heart-based. Much of what this program, this school is all about. And we need to do that for ourselves, to be resilient and to come from the right place and the being that we want to be in this world. It's like, again, it's not for us, it's part of this shift. It's part of our role as light workers. So it's for us to do our work, continue to do our work for ourselves more and deeper, and to do it with and for our clients. So the second key part of what this means for us as coaches is that the key is spiritual awakening, more deeply recognizing our interconnectedness. Because the more we deeply see that, the more we can live in harmony with each other, but also all the species that are suffering right now on this planet. Is like interconnectedness is that this planet is all one, and that means the ocean and the soil and the plants and the trees and the insects and the animals. It's like often I think that we think about interconnectedness, or we think about the work that we're doing in the context of making a difference, and we sometimes forget all those beings and those species. So for me, this is about being and it's about doing. So the third aspect for me of what we need to do at this time, as the old systems are being challenged and collapsing, so the institutions that rely on fear and control are weakening as people seek more decentralized and self-sufficient ways of living. So I see much of this, increasing focus on community, increasing focus on being in nature, increasing focus of the power to the people, and that is going to continue to happen. And so the question is, what role do we play in this? I believe we must prepare for the collapse that is coming, to be more loving, to be more the person that we want to be in this world, but also to be a stand for what we're a stand for, wherever we're standing for it. To play a role in the collapse, to challenge and question your council or your government or your institution or your company when it's not doing things aligned with this new way. It's been too easy for us to stand by and accept the ludicrousy of how our company culture works, the ludicrousy of how it's set up, the ludicrousy of the hierarchy within it, the ludicrousy of the fear within it is like, and in our governments and in our like boroughs and councils, it's like we walk around it and go, we just accept that the world is doing what it's doing, and I believe we're at a time where there's an opportunity to stand up and challenge more, and I invite that of you. So playing a role in the new world, where and how you shop, voting with your feet, who you work with and how you work with them, bringing in this wider context of what's going on, supporting organizations that are doing things in a different way and a new way and a better way. Working with leaders who want to change this world. So in summary, I believe we have a really extraordinary, important role to play. AJC for me isn't just about coaching people so they live happier lives, they're better leaders, they're more inspired, they're happier, they're more confident. It's not just about that. It's not just about me being happier and more inspired and making more money. No, it's a bigger context than that, far bigger. In fact, those things pale into significance when we think about the stakes that there are for this time in the world. So please, my invite to you is to keep the macro perspective in mind in your being and in your actions. These are not distant events that are happening in the world. They are here right now, and they are calls to action for each of us. Think of the Titanic. Our role is to raise consciousness, and that's what I want to align with what this school is doing. Yes, our role is to raise consciousness. We must do this for ourselves, for all species and all beings and all future generations. I am not that this town is named after me. I am that our species and all species survive and learn to thrive. Thank you.